Oh no. Ugh. Hello guys, as you can see there was quite a few issues along with the particle system for this update, but welcome back to my 19th devlog of the series. There have been a few improvements to the game for this update, which include a few things that I've actually shifted around due to some careful thoughts on the game design. And these include things such as being able for the player to be able to hold multiple items at once, as you can see on screen. The player can actually enter and exit some buildings, and there are lots of improvements to the save game functionality. A chicken has also been added, and a few other minor improvements I had on my backlog to add in for this version, so let's get right to it. As you can see, a new slot has been added in. So two previous slots were actually here in the inventory system in order for the player to be able to place left and right hand and what items they want in each. However, that's been completely reworked, and I've just removed them completely and added in a equip slot in the quick slot items for passive offhand items. So as an example, I can put the torch in the offhand you can walk around with that on their own, or I can put the axe here and equip that, and now you can see I've got the axe and the torch, and I can remove the torch and I have no torch, but I've still got the axe, if you can see it there. So this just allows the player to be able to use different items in conjunction with each other, as well as the player being able to use passive items as well as active items such as torches while they're collecting any resources or planting vegetables and so on. So players can actually now enter and exit buildings through doors, and each will be linked to another door in another map through IDs. Once the player collides with the door, the trigger will happen and they will enter the new map based on that trigger. So in the background, as you can see, when we load new maps, we store all of the game objects in the current map into a separate map of itself, and then we load in the new map, also loading in the game objects that should be in the new map. So we're constantly temporarily saving and then loading in objects from current maps and new maps. This allows the player to travel between maps, and the data will be stored between them and then reloaded once the player goes through the next map. What will need to be worked on in the future is that we want some of the game objects to actually continue updating whilst in these maps and not just freeze in time, which is what they currently do at the moment. Another update that's actually been done with the buildings is that the player can now walk behind the building, and this is not just for buildings, this is actually for everything on the map now. So everything has been converted to the same type of object, and we can now walk behind and in front of every different type of object, and that also includes plants that have been planted. So the save game functionality was actually implemented previously, but it was at a very basic level, and we had so many issues, and sometimes it wasn't saving, some things weren't saving, and so on. A lot of these issues have actually been fixed, and a lot more things are now being saved, and this includes plant, vegetation, any entities or items in each of the maps, as well as the date and time. So as you can see, if I click save, at the bottom you can see the game is being saved. If I close it, load the game, just set it as default, and the same time and day and ambient lighting is actually saved into the game, including any of the vegetation. I've actually added in a chicken, which was actually quite a lot of fun to add in as well. A lot of it had to be improved in terms of behaviour. That includes fleeing and wandering and being idle, just to make it a little bit smoother for animals. Currently still needs to be reworked. There was also an update that needed chickens to be able to flee multiple entities. Chickens can also lay eggs at random times, as you can see, of the random intervals. At the moment it's actually pretty random when the egg is laid, but I'm actually factoring in that this needs to be based upon chicken's health, chicken's stress levels, and a few other factors, including the area it's in and so on. Another addition that was made was this new tree design in order to just sort of suit the game a bit more rather than the previous tree, which I did like, but I think this one just suits it just that little bit more. there still needs to be a few more different types of trees designed in order just so there's no duplicates of the exact same tree, just so we can have a bit of variation around the area. There's actually been an update to the health regeneration, which wasn't in there before. So if I just touch the tree, which reduces my health, and as you can see the health at the top left is reducing, and if we come here, if the hunger and thirst bars are high enough and your health is high enough, as you can see at the bottom, your health will actually regenerate very slowly. So if we wait, there. So we're increasing by 1 HP every n amount of seconds. There is also now animated dialogue text, which can also be skipped. So if I click what's up, as you can see it's continuing, click, and it skips this text. Yes, we can watch it straight to the end. This wasn't a major change, and it was just a nice addition to have that I had in my backlog that I wanted to do since I made the dialogue, and I just didn't have time to go back and do. Finally, it will be a good time to talk about the new particle system. As you can see lots of variations of different types of particles in the background. Now, this actually might look slightly worse and it's still being developed, but the benefit to this is the fact that this particle system actually follows the camera the player is going around, and the other particle system, which was a custom libgdx library one, was not able to do this, and it was actually very difficult to get it across the entire screen and camera screen for the particles to go across. So I've just gone back to a previous version which includes the previous types of particle systems, and these look very nice slowly going past the screen with their sort of transparency in different directions. But if I go above a certain area, as you can see, they stop generating on the screen and they only generate within that area of the map, so it's quite deceiving. If I go back to the newer version with the new particle system, as you can see that the particles are flowing, they are getting removed at different parts of the area. They're actually pretty efficient in how they get generated. There needs to be a bit of work to be done, including the animation of them and the style and look of them, as these are just white boxes for now, but these will be updated. This was just to test the fact of the custom particle system, which seems like it's working, as I can move around the map, and as you can see, the custom particles are still following the player no matter where he goes. Finally, I'd just like to show the new swinging animation that has been added into the game. So I think this looks pretty good, and I feel like I just need to work on it slightly more, just tweak it here and there, and then that will be good to be merged in and good to go. So for this update, I actually did think there was quite a lot going on and a lot implemented. A lot of the fundamentals have been updated and implemented, and that includes the saving functionality and particle system, which I've actually kind of put off for a little while. But I feel like these are in a good place, and they just need to be tweaked a little bit and just obviously visually look a bit better. I think from now I'm actually going to try and add in a few more animals. I actually need to update the AI for these as well, for it to be a bit more intelligent. Although it's quite good at the moment, I feel like it can just be a bit better in order for the player to be able to interact with them a bit more and to have actually more use of them. I have been working on a map as well and updating the actual surrounding area to actually look a bit better and to actually have different areas for the player to go into, but I think that will be shown in the next update as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.